Madam Chairman, friends, it is an honour to join with other parliamentarians in expressing my support for Camp Ashraf in its quest for freedom and democracy. I've watched over the last decade as the situation in Camp Ashraf has developed to the situation we find ourselves in today. I've watched as the American forces provided protected person status to the residents in 2004, only to stand by and watch the residents being attacked. I have watched as the Iraqi forces took over the security of Camp Ashraf in 2009, promising that they would not violate the residents' protected person status, only to attack the camp in July of that year. I have watched as the United Nations has designated the residents as asylum seekers with all the legal protection that this status affords them, only to have the Iraqi QUD's forces, stooges, attack them in April of last year, murdering another 36 unarmed civilians. I have watched as the Iraqi government has denied collusion with the Iranian regime, whilst allowing Iranian intelligence officers to man 300 loudspeakers, as my colleague and friends have said, on the perimeter of Camp Ashraf. I have also watched as the men and women of Camp Ashraf have stood up to all these abuses with strength, courage and dignity, never flinching in the face of such adversity. Friends, if only the international community could be as brave in the face of Iraqi and Iranian aggression. If only the United States had the moral fortitude that the people of Camp Ashraf had. If they had an ounce of this spirit, they would immediately remove the PMOI from the terror list in the United States of America. The United States of America recently declared further sanctions against Iran, but stopped short of announcing a desire for regime change. The United States must stand side by side with the Iranian people and the brave people of Camp Ashraf and declare that they seek a regime change. They must let the religious fascists in Iran know that eventually they will be held accountable for the 120,000 political prisoners which they have murdered. We have watched as the Iraqi government has time and again broken its promise to the people of Camp Ashraf, to the United Nations and to the wider international community. It is time we declared loudly with the same bravery as the people of Camp Ashraf that enough is enough. It is time that the UNHCR stood up to President Maliki and declared that the residents are being collectively designated as refugees. The UNHCR must now place the protection of the residents of Camp Ashraf ahead of conciliating this Iraqi government that has shown nothing but contempt for the UN and international law from the very beginning. Friends, it is time that the UNAMI stepped forward and played its part as the driver in this humanitarian crisis. On Christmas Eve of last year, the United States signed an MOU with the Iraqi government declaring a roadmap to a peaceful solution for the residents of Camp Ashraf. Within days, there were rocket attacks on the camp, and Iraq had started to breach the MOU. Yet we have not heard enough words of condemnation from the United Nations. The United Nations must not stand for this. It risks its international reputation when it signs deals which are broken within days. It is time that the UN declared publicly that it will not allow the Iraqi government to breach its commitments to them and to the people of Camp Ashraf. So, friends, in conclusion, it is time for the international community to support the freedom-seeking people of Iran and the PMOI. The only way to deal with a brutal regime is to show the same courage and strength and resilience as the people of Camp Ashraf. So, whilst I certainly applaud what my colleague Tony said earlier. In particular today, we should concentrate on seeking respect and protection for the safety of the residents of Camp Ashraf. Whether in Ashraf or in Camp Liberty, they need our help. I emphasise that protecting Ashraf is indeed our humanitarian duty, and I join with my colleagues in not resting until their permanent safety is guaranteed.
Thank you.